What it do, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Axis of Combat podcast, episode 86. Today, we're going to be covering UFC 312 taking place in Sydney, Australia. And on the back end for boxing, we got a Manchester card brought to you in part by Queensberry Promotions. It's your boy Ray Boogie Kahuna, my co-host.
Hugo the boss, Hugo got next. Hugo channeling his inner Jimmy Butler. How you doing?
Hey.
You already know. Before we get into any of that hoopla, you already know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know.
First fight on the card at men's bantamweight, we have the debuting Aleksandre Topuria going one-on-one with Colby Thicknesse. Hey, yo. Who? Topuria, 5-1, fighting out of Spain, but repping Georgia, 29 years old. Thicknesse, perfect, 7-0, fighting out of Australia. Hailing from Australia.
That is crazy.
25 years old. I mean, listen, you're gonna kick it off with a banger.
Hey, oh my goodness.
Let me start on the Topuria side. I'm gonna leave thickness for a little bit. Topuria, you know, the name sounds familiar, related to the current UFC featherweight champion. Does he fight the same? Kind of. Got some striking. He's got some grappling. A little too soon to say how good he's going to be. Obviously, he's debuting. He's 5-1. Really hasn't fought anybody. If you go down the record, it's kind of been a whole bunch of like cans.
To be frank, yeah.
Speaking of cans, we got Thicknesse here. This wasn't his original opponent. It was supposed to be Cody Hatton. Would have been a way better fight, to be honest. Thicknesse, not that good of a striker. Persistent grappler, but also not that good in the grappling either, in my opinion. But I mean, A for persistency for sure. He's gonna go for it, as sloppy as it looks. I'm taking Topuria here, medium confidence, only because of two things. One, Topuria's pedigree. I'm assuming because he trains with his brother and they grew up together, and you know he's gotta have a little bit of that championship rub is rubbing on him. Pause. And then his opponent, Thicknesse. I mean, first of all, his name is Thicknesse. Hey yo, come on, man. No offense, but my man is ass. So give me Topuria here. I'm going to say maybe by sub. ITD is probably a little safer. In terms of a bet, I don't know. I'm probably going to leave this one alone for the most part, unless something sticks out. But Topuria, ITD, my official pick.
Yeah, I'm not going to add too much on top of that. I feel like he's got him covered everywhere for the most part. I don't think Thicknesse is very good.
Hey.
Horrible fight.
Thicknesse is very good depending on who you talk to. You know what I'm saying? Thick.
He's I'm gonna bank on Topuria, probably ITD. If it's plus money, I think it's definitely playable. And I expect him to give Thicknesse the thickness.
Hey, yo.
You heard what I said. On to the next one.
Next fight at men's flyweight, we have Hyun Park, Peace of Mind, going one-on-one with. Give me a minute here, folks. Is Nyamjargal Tumendemberel. I think I got that right. The Art of Knockout.
Oh, man.
His nickname is so much easier to say than his whole name. I apologize. Park, perfect. 9-0 fighting out of South Korea, hailing from South Korea, 29 years old. Tumendemberel. Man, this guy needs a nickname. The Art of Knockout. I'm just going to call him the Art of Knockout from here on out. 8-1 overall. Fighting out of Mongolia, hailing from Mongolia, 26 years old. Both these fighters coming out of the road to UFC. I think the same season, if I'm not mistaken. But on the Park side, decent fighter, solid striking, solid wrestling. I mean, nothing really stands out with him in particular. I don't know how good or bad he is. Tough to kind of get a read on him, in my opinion. I guess I'm a bit indifferent. For the Art of Knockout, I kind of don't like him. Unorthodox striker. I feel like he has more success in the grappling. He has more submission finishes. Sometimes he'll go grapple heavy. Sometimes he'll just kind of be a little bit opportunistic when it comes to the grappling. Like I said, unorthodox striker, a bit cocky, kind of like Anderson Silva, but like an asshole. You know?
He's a prick. Yeah.
He's kind of an asshole in there. You know, it's annoyingly cocky in there. I could see his unorthodoxness, maybe, I don't know if that's even a word, giving Park some problems here. I think the better bet, in my opinion, is probably fight doesn't go. This is a flyweight fight where I think ends in sub is probably viable. In terms of a pick, I'm going to pick Park only because I think he's the more technical guy, but art of knockout here, I could see him doing some unorthodox shit and getting a win here too. Really don't care about this fight, if I'm being completely honest, but I'm going to, for pick's sake, I'm going Park, but I like for bets, ITD, fight ends in sub.
Yeah, to be frank as well, too, one thing that my brother didn't mention, and we talked about it off the podcast, it was extremely hard to find a lot of footage for the art of knockout. Usually when that happens, guys, it's a situation where you should probably stay away from the fight because I can't gauge how good or bad this guy really is, to be frank with you. I don't think either one is very good, so there might be some value, but there's not a ton to see for the art of knockout. With that said, I'm going to go with my brother here and lean Park, just for the simple fact that I was able to see more from him.
Yeah,
but I don't think either is very good either. This might be a borderline 1-800-gamblers fight. Park is the lean, but man, not with a high degree of confidence.
Next fight at men's welterweight, we have Kevin Air Jousset going one-on-one with the captain, debuting Jonathan Micallef. Jousset is 10-3, fighting out of France. No, fighting out of New Zealand, but repping France, 31 years old. Micallef, 7-1 overall, fighting out of Australia, hailing from Australia, 25 years old. I'll start on the Micallef side. Decent striker, I think better grappler. I think most of his success, or more where he feels comfortable, I feel like is off his back or just on the ground in general. I don't know how much of a threat he's going to be here to Jousset. I'm kind of high on Jousset. I mean, despite being, mollywopped by Battle in his last fight, I still think Jousset here is probably the better striker. Got decent takedown defense. I think enough to probably, what's the right word I'm looking for? Like stall or like
mitigate,
where Jonathan kind of wants this fight to be. I wouldn't say bounce back fight. I still think, Jousset's got some more growing in his game. I'm going to be picking Jousset here probably for the win. Probably by decision. Don't have really a solid read on this one either. Give me Jousset here for the win.
Yeah, if I'm correct, Jousset's training with the city kickboxing crew. Those guys are working on their takedown defense actively, and his striking is pretty good, to be frank. I think this is a lot to ask for Jonathan in a debut. You get fed Kevin Jousset, a.k.a. Joel Kinnaman, a.k.a. Altered Carbon, however you may or may not know him. I just feel like from what I've seen from Jonathan, I just don't know what he's got for Jousset, respectfully. Maybe the wrestling, but Jousset got to be expecting that. And Jousset has decent takedown defense, if I recall correctly. So for me, this is an easy pick. I think it's Joel Kinnaman by decision. And I don't know what Jonathan can do, essentially, to get the grappling going outside of landing a high single and then probably putting him on his back. But Jousset, tall for the division, big for the division as well. Taking down these taller guys is a problem if you've ever done the work with wrestling and or grappling. You've picked them up, you could get a double leg on them, and you pick them up off their feet and their feet are still touching the floor.
Tough to take big dudes down. Pause.
Yeah. So but yeah, give me Joel Kinnaman for the decision. I think I think it's a bounce back fight. I think he makes it look easy, to be frank.
Next fight on the card at men's lightweight, we have Cody Steele, debuting Cody Steele, going one-on-one with Rongzhu. Steele, 7-0, perfect, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 29 years old. Rongzhu, 25-6 overall, fighting out of China, hailing from China, 24 years old. This fight I'm a little conflicted on. I feel like, because I'm a fan of Rongzhu, probably a little higher on him than most people. I like his striking. I think he's an excellent striker. Grappling probably needs a little help, but I think he has been improving in that department, considering this is like his, I guess, second attempt or stint in the UFC. Cody Steele, very good striker. Well, not very good striker. No, you know what? He is a very good striker.
Very good grappler.
Very good grappler. Terrible striking defense, though. I mean,
decent striker, I would say.
Does not move his head at all. He will take 5 to give 1. I don't think you want to do that against Rongzhu. Personally, the issue I have here is that if Rongzhu gets taken down, Steele's jiu-jitsu is pretty fucking good. And,
I agree.
I think this is another fight that probably doesn't go. If you like the Zhu side, go Rongzhu by knockout, because I think that's the way he wins. And if you like the Steele side, I think it's Steele by submission. Steele probably ITD as well, because Steele does hit pretty hard. His last fight was a Contender Series fight where he got a body shot knockout.
Folded him, yeah.
I mean, I'm going to stay safe, and maybe not safe because he's debuting, but I'm going to stay with the grappler here. I'm probably going to regret it. Every time I bet for or against Rongzhu, I always kind of get it twisted, so maybe fade me here. But give me Steele here for the upset in his debut against Rongzhu. Give me the submission or the ITD.
Yeah, I don't even think you're staying safe here. I think it's a situation where Rongzhu has put himself in bad positions before, especially when he's getting teed off on. Don't get me wrong, I think Kody Steele, if he stands up with Rongzhu, I think it's like a 75-25 for Rongzhu. I think Rongzhu can lamp him.
I think he knocks him out.
Yeah, Rongzhu knows how to angle out. He's very defensively responsible. That Padilla fight, he was winning that fight until he got caught with the elbow. And to be honest, if the doctor didn't stop it, he probably would have fought through it like a savage. So yeah. I'm just going to be frank with you. I think on the feet, it's not even close, to be frank. I feel I'm going to lean Kody just because I feel like Kody will engage in that dogfight and then try to get to his wrestling. I would love to see these guys face off because I don't trust these dimensions that Topology is putting out there.
For me personally, I feel like I want to pick Rongzhu, but I also feel like that's like an emotional pick for me because I just like the guy. Like, I think he's a good fighter, in my opinion.
Yeah, guys, we have to keep in mind that this is the guy who gave Bahamundes his first sub win, and Bahamundes is a striker. So, and the thing is, don't get me wrong, do I think Bahamundes was able to get that panic shot out of Rongzhu by teeing off on him, and then he ran into the Bravo choke? Kody Steele doesn't have the same level of striking as Bahamundes. He also doesn't have the same dimensions. This fight, I agree with my brother. I like the violence play more. I like the unders. I feel like someone's going to get served here, low-key, because Rongzhu's style is like either he's gonna knock you out, and if you don't kill him, he's gonna kill you, kind of thing. Give me Kody Steele, man, but not with a high degree of confidence. And as the week progresses, don't be surprised if I make a play on Rongzhu. I would give you like a value play, but there's no lines available right now too, so that's another reason. So follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll keep you updated as everything starts dropping.
Next fight on the card at women's flyweight, we have the Joker Cong Wang. Wang Kong going one-on-one with the special one, Bruna, Brazil. Wang is 6-1, fighting out of China, hailing from China, 32 years old. Brazil is 10-4-1. Guess where she fights out of? Brazil. She's also repping Brazil. And Brazil is 31 years old. If this fight plays out the way I think it's going to play out, it's going to be a fun striker versus striker match here. Obviously, you got to give Wang the edge here because she's got more experience, decorated kickboxer. And if people, you probably heard it before, she fought Shevchenko.
And beat her.
That was in a kickboxing match, but, this is MMA. It's a little different. Bruna Brazil coming off her last fight. Who was that against again? I don't remember. I want to say Patty Pimlin, but it's not Patty Pimlin. It's
Molly McCann.
Molly McCann.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. In a fight where, she won. She didn't look the greatest, but she did look improved, in my opinion. If this fight stays standing, I can see a knockout on either side, but I think the finishing side is probably more on the Wang side. Also, Wang's last performance is a bit of a letdown, considering
a hype.
Fernandez is not really a grappler and choked her out. I think it was in the third round.
Well, she can grapple. Gabriela can grapple.
Yeah, she could grapple, but
her striking's she just can crack. Yeah. She's explosive. So, Cong was winning that fight until Gabby started countering her and then was able to drop her and then grab her neck. Right? So I'm with you. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
Well, we're with each other here. Pause.
Yeah.
I think we're going Wang here. And I could see her putting it on Brazil, probably by KO. So give me Wang by KO, and in terms of a bet, I really don't have anything at the moment.
Yeah, I'm with you for all the points. I think Bruna's chin is a little suspect, to be frank. Her grappling is better than Wang's. She's much better on the floor, to be frank. But I just don't trust Bruna to wrestle. I actually trust Wang to probably wrestle into her. But Wang is capable of, she's shown decent jiu-jitsu defense in the past. I think the last fight with Gabriela, she was just really rocked and just got her back taken. At this fight, I expect it to be a lot more measured. I expect the knockout maybe round 2. I think she's going to take her time, but we'll see how it goes. This fight, just based on the line, may be one I may not want to touch because I don't think after that last performance, Wang should be a minus 400 either. I think that's a little crazy. Bruno's sitting at a plus 310. I think this line should be a lot closer just based on the fact that Gabriela Fernandez, who, listen, she's not bad, but she ain't good either. She covered a plus 700, 800 line. I just feel like Wang's got to show it to me. But if you're asking me, she's gonna show Bruna to Wang, and and she's gonna let her know.
Some things out when the Wang's out, boy.
I'm covered this minus 400 line. I think she knocks her out in the second round. Give me Wang by knockout second round.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have Jenkins going one-on-one with I'm not going to say his name in Brazilian, but Gabriel Santos. Jenkins is 13-1, fighting out of Australia, hailing from Australia, 31 years old. Santos is 11-2, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 28 years old. One of the more interesting fights on this card, I think Jack Jenkins is good, but not great. I also think Gabriel Santos is good, but possibly not great. Stylistically, I mean, Jack Jenkins, I mean, not to disrespect, but he's like Jonathan Martinez.
Absolutely.
But like a bit of a lesser version, I guess. You know, very good leg kicks, decent boxing. I mean, the leg kicks is his prime thing. Like, if he gets his leg kicks going, it's a wrap. I mean, he's got leg kick stoppages. It's pretty much his thing. Santos, dynamic striker, good grappling, good jiu-jitsu. I could see in this fight some kind of head kick knockout. Either a head kick straight from Jenkins, because he can set him up like that, or from Santos, like a front head kick, because he was throwing them in spades his last fight against his name, the Asian cat, Jiza.
Oh, Jiza, yeah.
I'm gonna be leaning Gabriel here for the win, though, only because if Gabriel shows up the way he did against Lerone Murphy, where like that fight went to split, that fight was very close. That fight was very competitive. He was shooting his shot, and when I mean shooting his shot, like he was shooting takedowns, he was getting his grappling going. I don't think Jack Jenkins can handle the grappling. I think that's a area of weakness for him, in my opinion. So give me Santos here for the win. I'll say by sub. Fuck it. Sub or decision, but I'm gonna say sub. That's my official pick.
Yeah, I think the clear lean here is Gabriel Santos. He has a clear path to victory. Lerone Murphy lost is aging gracefully, to be frank. Lerone Murphy is a top contender in this division, and he was able to get the wrestling at will. Don't get me wrong, Lerone Murphy's takedown defense isn't that good, but his get-up game is very good. Easy to take down, not hard, and very difficult to essentially control. I think Jack Jenkins he might get fraud checked a little bit here. There is a glaring hole in his wrestling game that's nobody's really tested yet. He's got to be expecting it, but he's also like Jonathan Martinez. If he can't establish the leg kick, man, I feel like he's going to have a hard time establishing his offense in this fight. Santos can get his offense going from any which weapon he chooses, from the jab, from the straight, from the kicks, leg kicks, body kicks, offensively wrestling. I think this is Santos' fight to lose. I don't necessarily agree with the 2-1, but I get it, you know, just because of all the things that I listed. Give me Santos here. I don't know how, but just give me Santos for the win for sure.
Next fight on the card at men's lightweight, we have Big Train, Tom Nolan going one-on-one with Slava Claus. Viacheslav Borshchev. Damn, I nailed that name, fuck.
Yes, you did.
Nolan, 8-1, fighting out of Australia, hailing from Australia, 24 years old. Slava Claus is 8-4-1, fighting out of Sacramento, California, but repping Russia, 33 years old. Exciting fight, I think. Well, you know, if you like the striker versus striker classics, right? I don't think this fight's going to go to distance, in my opinion. It's mostly because of Tom Nolan. I'm not too high on the guy. I don't think he's that great. His defense is a bit mid. I was gonna say dog shit, but you know, I'm gonna say mid. I'm gonna keep it nice.
I won't.
I already said dog shit. Fuck it. His shit is dog shit.
Yeah, I won't. Yeah.
Borshchev, I mean, decorated kickboxing background. I mean, this guy can strike. He's been improving his grappling. I don't think he's really got to worry about it in this fight in particular. But if it got there, I mean, he's got a good get-up game. He might even engage in some grappling, in my opinion. I think Borshchev just shows Tom Nolan the ropes here, in my opinion. I don't think Tom Nolan's that good. I mean, outside of a knockout, you know, where he clips Borshchev because Borshchev is the older fighter.
And good luck hitting him.
I don't know. I think this is a Borshchev fight all day. Give me Borshchev via KO. I'll say second round. Call him the shot.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a bet too, just based on the money line. I think Borshchev's going to style on him. Low key. I don't think Tom Nolan's very good. Tom Nolan's last fight was against Alex Reyes. You know,
listen, I put a little on Alex Reyes. That man took that man to decision.
He took him to decision. That's a good bet, low key.
What was Reyes? Like, he was like +8, right?
It was something crazy.
Crazy around there.
Tom Nolan's ass, bro. Like, you know, you said you try to be nice. I won't. Like, I'm not going to be. I don't think he belongs in the UFC. I think he has a lot of holes in his game. I think his striking is mediocre. He hits hard, sure, man, but At this level, you gotta do more than just hit hard. And I think to hit a technician like Borshchev cleanly, good luck. You might connect on him. You might even drop him.
Yeah, like
maybe
I said,
first round. But
outside of a meme KO, I don't really see anything crazy on the Tom Nolan side. I don't like his style. I don't like his defense. I don't.
Yeah,
Borshchev a lot to prove for him.
Borshchev sitting at a -148. That's playable,
pretty good.
man. Like that's playable. Like for me, it's like I'm looking at it like I thought it'd be lined wider, and I think it's just. But if you look at it, it's like I think this is like where Vegas messes up a little bit, because I feel like just look at the strength of competition here, man. Like Borshchev has fought killers, up and comers, and guys who are ranked, if I'm correct.
They're probably just factoring his age and the losses, and
Yeah, I disagree with this, man. I think Tom Nolan he's pretty ass, to be frank.
Horrible.
So give me Borshchev the style. I'll agree with you. I think second, third round knockout for sure.
Next fight on the card at men's lightweight, we have a debuting Quillan Salkilld going one-on-one with the King of Lions, Jubli.
Yep.
Salkilld is 7-1, fighting out of Australia, hailing from Australia, 25 years old. Jubli is 7-1, fighting out of India, repping India, 30 years old. Start on the Jubli side, coming off his most recent loss to a guy who, I mean, the UFC really tried to set this man up for a win, and Mike Breeden just did not go away. Mike Breeden had that dog in him. That third round mentally broke the man, clocked him, referee jumped in.
Saved his life.
Saved his life, didn't save his job though. Mike Breeden, I ended up getting cut after that regardless, because the UFC, they're probably pissed off. Listen, Jubli's a good striker. I give him credit. Decent takedown defense from the opponents he's fought so far. I don't think he's a terrible fighter. I just don't think he's that good of a fighter. So India really starts to develop that side of the world in terms of competition. I don't feel confident. I'm gonna fade Jubli again. Quillan, actually, I think he's pretty decent striking. I don't like that he's not as aggressive, so I could see this fight probably going, if the over is like 1.5, I could see it going over. Even 2.5, I could probably see it going over. Not as aggressive, but I think he's a very good striker. I think he hits hard where he wants this fight, and I think where he should probably take this fight is to the ground. He's got decent grappling, funky takedowns. I wouldn't say he's like that good in wrestling, but once he's got you on the bottom, he's gonna beat you up.
Pause.
Give me Salkilld here for the win. I could see a finish, but I'm gonna say by decision. Nah, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going by finish. Salkilld ITD.
I'm with you on the ITD. I was waiting for you to just commit to that.
Yeah, you know what? Nah.
I think it's a bad stylistic matchup for Jubli. Jubli, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's very hard for me to bet him ever against anybody after that last performance, because he looks like he'd never seen a crazy person before. Like he said, Breland started screaming at him, and his eyes got wide. He was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like,
well, it was also he kept throwing punches at Breeden, and Breeden just kept walking forward like, that's all you got.
He was eating them and then rolling with them, And the thing is, it's like
screaming in his face.
Yeah, and then just beat him up. Like he just beat him down to the body, and just like Breland. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he hits hard. He doesn't. He's just not the most talented guy, low key. For me, Jubli I think there's glaring holes in his wrestling game. And this guy, Quillan, I wouldn't say he's a good striker. You're a little higher than him than I am. I think he's awkward.
Yes. That's the word I was looking for.
He's an awkward striker, and that can be a lot of trouble with someone like Jubli, who I don't think is very durable. The only thing that scares me about both these boys is their cardio late in fights. If you're asking me, like, Quillan, yeah, he gasses, but Jubli does too. So for me, it's like I gotta lean the guy who I know is gonna mix in the wrestling here. I think Quillan should get it done inside the distance. He's a -410, his line, and Vegas thinks he's gonna do so as well. I feel like Jubli can steal this fight if he really works towards it, but I just have a hard time believing he's gonna be able to manage the distance long enough before Quillan starts being able to execute his wrestling and getting into the wrestling and grappling exchanges against the cage to get him to the floor. Give me Quillan ITD as well.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight, we have the Celtic Kid, Jake Matthews, going one-on-one with Francisco Prado. Matthews is 20-7, fighting out of Australia, hailing Australia, 30 years old. Prado, 12-2 overall, fighting out of Miami, Florida, but repping Argentina, 22 years old. I like Prado. I like the kid's style. I think he's got power. I think he's got very good not very good striking. I think the hole in his department is the grappling, but he is 22. Jake Matthews, a guy that I feel like I want to bet, but I'm always very hesitant to bet.
He's a donk, low key.
This is a good matchup for both guys because I feel like if Jake Matthews pushes the pressure and goes to the grappling, I think he's gonna have success and he probably could win. If this is a stand-up fight, I think it's more 50-50, probably leaning Prado for the power, but Jake is not that bad on the feet as well. It's just the problem that I have with Jake is that he's just unreliable.
He's a donk. He makes bad fight decisions.
Yeah, the IQ is just a bit questionable. I think he's good. I don't know. He just never really gets it out of that second gear sometimes. He's got a ton of fights in the UFC. Still pretty young.
Still unranked, by the way.
Still unranked. But he is, maybe I'm gonna lean Jake Matthews here hesitantly because he's got the clear path here. It's just whether or not he takes advantage of that clear path. He's also going to be at home. Give him a little bit of edge there. It's a tall task for Prado, especially if he hasn't really improved that takedown defense. But give me Jake Matthews probably by decision, but I'm not too confident in this fight in general.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, he has all the tools to win this fight. This is his fight to lose. And just to be frank, and listen, just like the last fight with Jubli, Prado and Jubli come from parts of the world where the wrestling and the grappling haven't been as developed as the rest of the world. They're still trying to catch up. So the UFC is trying to push this narrative with India and Argentina and South America, but there's clear deficiencies unless they move to America and really work on their crafts, or they move to Dagestan and work on the wrestling, or they got to go somewhere else outside of their native towns, because for Prado, he on the feet is 50-50, but there's a clear path of Jake here, so I gotta lean Jake just because of the wrestling. If Jake wants to go to the wrestling and the grappling, he should have success here. Give me Jake Matthews. Not sure how, but just give me Jake Matthews as the lead, but not with a high degree of confidence as well.
Next fight on the card at men's light heavyweight, we have Jimmy the Brute Crute going one-on-one with Rodolfo Trato Bellato. Crute, 12-4-1, fighting out of Australia, hailing from Australia, 28 years old. Bellato, 12-2, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 29 years old. Now, initially, I thought they cut Crute because he's on a bit of a skid. I mean, he's coming off of like back-to-back fights with
Alonzo Menifield, yeah.
Where you could argue he lost the first one, but that was a draw. He definitely lost the second one.
Got killed.
I thought he would have made the adjustments because he's got such a big grappling edge. He's not the best wrestler, but he's persistent.
We played him.
We did play him.
And we got burned.
And we got earthed. Menifield, I think Menifield ended up like tapping him out like on a neck crank. It was something kind of weak. I do question Crute's mentality a bit. I do question his commitment to the game. I think after that fight, he also not semi-retired, but he was taking off his gloves and he was kind of just over. They are in Australia here. This is a matchup that he could win because Bellato does not have good takedown defense at all.
It's shite.
But if this fight stays on the feet, I think Bellato could 100% light him up. Crute does have power in his hands, not as good as a striker as Bellato in my opinion. Now I'm stuck here between a rock and a hard place. I got Bellato, who's a decent striker, can't defend the takedown, going against a guy who is gonna persistently go for the takedowns, but I don't know if he can take a punch, and I can't really rely on his what his commitment level is to the game here. So on paper, I gotta go Crute. I'm gonna pick Crute tentatively here, but for some reason I just think Bellato is gonna win this. I don't know how he's gonna win this. From a betting perspective, that scares me, so I might just stay off the fight entirely. But the pick is gonna be Crute here, I guess by decision. But I don't have anything good to say about this fight in terms of vibes.
Yeah, I don't even know why it's on the main card, to be frank. I hope it changes because I guess because he's Jimmy Crute, sure, but
for me, I think it's gonna be a Bellato showcase for some reason. I think that's why it's on the main card, but I still don't understand. I don't know. I just can't get a good read on this one. I'm assuming it's a Bellato setup, but
yeah, I don't know, and I don't necessarily know if I trust that either because Bellato is a guy who got taken down by Iho Pateria.
He got rocked by
you. Want the real? I thought he got finished. I thought that fight should have got stopped.
Was Herb Dean the referee?
Yeah,
I feel like he was.
I think he probably was. and if you want the real, I thought Pateria almost murdered him in the last fight. Yeah, let's just call it what it is. He kind of got saved by the ref because the ref let him work, and then he came back and stopped Pateria, it's a crazy fucking fight. Don't get me wrong, but if you want the real, Pateria, undersized for that division, was able to take him down. I feel like if Jimmy Crute pushes it here, I think it's a dog or pass spot. I think it's Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute's sitting at the dog right now. I think he's going to be the lean. Don't know if I'm going to play him. I want to hear how he's talking this week. I also want to see how his weight cut looks and everything and how his body looks because he did take a ton of time off. I feel like Rodolfo just gives me big fraud vibes, man. And Jimmy's a big fraud too already, to be frank. I think he's been kind of debunked already, but I think Bilal's a bigger fraud. I think when you're getting smashed by Topuria, not to shit on Topuria, but the thing is, if you told me he got lamped a little bit on the feet by Topuria, okay, that makes sense because I think Poturia's striking's a little underrated. But if Topuria is taking you down and fucking elbowing you to hell, man, I think Jimmy Crute could do some dirty things to you on the floor if he gets you there. Give me Jimmy Crute, but not with a high degree of confidence just because of what his mentality's at and, you know, what he's looking, what's his outlook and what are his goals as a fighter at this point in his career.
Next fight on the card, at men's heavyweight, we have the debuting Thaleson Teixeira going one-on-one with the bad man, Justin Tafa. Teixeira is 7-0, perfect. Fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 25 years old. The bad man, Justin Tafa, is 7-4. Fighting out of Australia, hailing from Australia, 31 years old. This fight is not going to go the distance, and if it does, it's something went terribly, drastically wrong. Teixeira, even though he's debuting, I mean, athletically looks very impressive. I mean, for a guy with his dimensions at heavyweight moves pretty good. Fast hands, hits hard, dynamic striker. I don't think he's been out the first round. Justin Tafa, bad man. He's got that one-hitter quitter. You reach, I teach. You know I love that shit. This is either going to be a Teixeira knockout or a Justin Tafa knockout. I'm going to lean Teixeira because I think the speed and the length and the height is going to give Tafa some trouble, in my opinion. Tafa, I mean, listen, he can crack. He's a good counterpuncher. I can see a Justin Tafa knockout as well. You know, Tafa's got the T-Rex arms. He's a stout man. I know he's the hometown guy here, but Teixeira is looking like a mighty fine prospect to me, in my opinion. Give me Teixeira by KO.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on the pick. It's just, I love the unders more here. If the unders are plus money, play them.
They probably won't be, but
yeah,
if you can find the diamond in the rough, take it.
Take it, man. I don't think this fight's going to go very far. I think Tafa has knockout capability here, though. Like, I won't rule it out, but I think Teixeira is decently the goods. I mean, he has to show it at this level, but he has all the physical gifts, and he has showed it on the regional level. So give me Teixeira, man, just not with a high degree of confidence because I don't like playing people, it's particularly when they're debuting. Lights do get bright. This is it's a pay-per-view card for fuck's sake. So,
and if you reach out to each Tafa,
he's been under these circumstances before, and he has shined. Him and his brother have knocked out dudes on big cards. So give me Teixeira, but I like violence in this. This fight for sure.
Next fight on the card at women's strawweight for the UFC strawweight championship, we have the champion Zhang Weili Zhang, nickname Magnum. I don't think I've ever heard them call her Magnum on broadcast ever, right?
I think they do.
Maybe they do.
Magnum Zhang Weili. They always say it first. That's why.
Shout out to Bruce Buffer, I guess.
She goes like this before the fight starts.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
With the cannons.
Yeah, I like her. She's
double
awesome.
Revolver boy. Going one-on-one with the highly touted Tatiana, no nickname, Suarez. Zhang is the champion. She is 25-3. Fighting out of China. Actually, no, fighting out of Las Vegas, but repping China, 35 years old. Damn, I didn't realize she was that old. Going one-on-one with the challenger here, Tatiana Suarez, who is perfect. 10-0. Fighting out of Rancho, let's say Cucamonga?
I think you're right.
Cucamonga. Damn, California, 34 years old.
She's not no spring chicken either.
No, she's not. This is a highly anticipated fight for a lot of people. I mean, you know, people, as soon as they've seen Tatiana debut, they've been saying, you know, she's the next big thing, you know, no Brock Lesnar, you feel me? She's out here, she can grapple, she can wrestle. She's a very dominant, powerful woman. Some setbacks, you know, unfortunately, you know, sometimes life is unfair. But she's worked her way out of those problems. She's here now. And she's going against the champion, who I think is probably pound for pound one of the best women in the game. Zhang Weili. I think her last fight was against Yao Jianan, right?
Yeah.
Where she beat that woman 3 different ways.
Yeah.
But I think it was because, no, it was actually Jason Herzog. Well, that was surprising because that's like that's a Herb Dean special.
It was a good, it wasn't a bad stoppage. I know people are complaining about that choke, but she kind of did get up on her own free will.
I mean, barely, but she did.
She did. She did. I get it. I get why people are tight, but
anyway, I mean, Zhang, you know, I mean, what can you say? I mean, she's a woman who can bang. She's improved her wrestling. She's a very good wrestler, in my opinion. Is she as good as a wrestler as Suarez? That's what we're here to find out. I'm going to be picking Zhang here. Only reason I'm picking Zhang is 1, championship pedigree. 2, I mean, she's the more well-rounded fighter, in my opinion. If this fight stays standing, Tatiana's only chance is to be just overwhelmingly dominant in the grappling department. Is there a path there? Yeah, because I don't think Zhang's wrestling is tremendous. It's very good.
Her takedown defense is not tremendous either,
but she can be taken down. Interesting fight, 5-rounder for the belt. I'm going to be leaning Zhang here. I say medium confidence, but I think my brother might be leaning the other way. And in terms of a bet, I don't really know. I would have to look and see.
Yeah, Tatiana's sitting at the dog right now, plus 114. Zhang Weili a minus 135 return. I agree with you. Zhang is by far the more well-rounded fighter, in my opinion. I think she lamps her on the feet. The problem is I seen Zhang get taken down by Yan Xiaonan a couple of times in her last fight. And if Yan Xiaonan's taking you down, I feel like Tatiana's going to have her way. Tatiana, for people who don't know, was actually on her route to go to the Olympics. Like, that's how good her wrestling is. She actually got diagnosed with thyroid cancer on the way. She fought through that. Now she's been a little inactive because she's almost too tough for her body. She reminds me so much of Cain Velasquez. It's crazy. But even Khabib too, to an extent, because Khabib had a lot of injuries too before like really sprouting out. And he kind of sprouted out once he kind of started making his championship run. Yeah. Tatiana hasn't made that championship run. She's just getting lodged in because they literally have no one else to feed Zhang Weili at this point. This is a tough fight, in my opinion, for both girls. Tatiana, it's hard to play her because she's inactive. And she's never been 5 rounds, at least not to my recollection. Not the UFC level. And the thing is, what she did to Carla Esparza a couple of years back, is her body even at that optimal level where it can reach that again? Because if that girl shows up, Zhang's going to have a long night. I really believe that. I think Carla Esparza is an underrated wrestler. She kind of got out. If her and Zhang had the same physicality, I'd lean Carla. But Zhang's physicality is going to be super interesting in this fight. Zhang does have the championship pedigree. I get why she's the favorite here. Like, I completely get it. I just feel like she's never faced someone like Tatiana. And I think Tatiana is going to be able to get to her position and control this fight at certain crucial points and win the minutes, to be frank. I think Zhang's got to be more about winning the moments. Once again, this is a girl who hasn't shown legitimate takedown defense. I mean, not only that, Rose Namajunas took her down. And I'm not shitting on Rose. Rose is barely built to be a strawweight. You know what I'm saying? So you're telling me someone that's not that physical can take down Zhang? Yan Xiaonan, someone who's not that technical, can take down Zhang. Tatiana's both, you know, and unless you are a legitimate submission threat like Mackenzie Dern, Zhang is the girl that can probably knock her out, but no one's tested Tatiana yet there, man. You know, I think this is dog or pass. I think this is Tatiana Suarez. I think Ann knew, and I think does she get the choke here, man? Her grappling's very good too, man. I'll say by decision, man, but that shit might change later in the week. Give me Tatiana. I think Tatiana's gonna figure out a way to get this done. And by the way, just to note, Tatiana also has a win over Alexa Grasso, and that's a weight class up, and she stopped her. So Valentina Shevchenko has gotten multiple rounds with that girl and not been able to stop her. You know, Tatiana got rid of her, I think, in 1 round. That's how good she is. So give me Tatiana Suarez here, I think, and new.
Next fight on the card, and has currently constituted the main event of the evening for the UFC Middleweight Championship, we have the champion, Dricus Du Plessis, still knocks, going one-on-one with Tarzan.
He needs to change that shit.
But I'm pretty sure they don't call him Tarzan anymore. They just call him Sean Strickland. Du Plessis is 22-2, the champion, fighting out of South Africa, repping South Africa, 31 years old. Sean Strickland, 29-6, the challenger. You know where he's fighting out of? Las Vegas, Nevada, the good old US of A, 33 years old. As you well know, this fight is a rematch. Technically, from the Sean Strickland side, we know how Sean Strickland fights. I don't think Sean Strickland is going to make any kind of adjustments going into this second fight, in my opinion. He's going to fight like Sean Strickland. He's not going to grapple. He's going to walk forward, pressure, jab, kick, punch, jab, kick, punch. Just do the Sean Strickland thing. You know, he's a unique fighter that you can't really train for because there's nobody out there that really fights like this guy. Du Plessis, a guy who I think will be making adjustments in this fight. Even though he did win the first fight, I still think he's going to win this second fight.
Yeah, and that's arguable, that first fight. I thought Strickland won the first fight.
I can see the argument, but my counter argument would be like the way they count significant strikes in the UFC is kind of weird because, you know, they count like the most weakest shots as like significant shots.
I just feel like I feel like people are getting, the judges got the when his eye got swelled up versus when Strickland's eye got swelled up round confused. Like I really feel like it's that degree of like,
I mean,
but if you
possible.
look at who landed the damage in the first couple of like in their rounds, and then Sean clearly landed the better damage, and then Dricus couldn't control him on the floor. But I digress.
What's the opposite of digress?
Continue forward.
I continue forward. I think Du Plessis, the champion, is going to win this fight only because I think he's just going to wrestle more. And I know Sean Strickland's got solid takedown defense.
And a solid get-up game.
He's a hard guy to take down, even a harder guy to hold down, pause. But Du Plessis is a very unorthodox kind of fighter where, you know, you think he's going to tire out. You think he doesn't have the best technique. But if there's a will, there's a way. That man fights like he's from South Africa. I think he's going to be wrestling here more, and I think he's going to get the win. I don't think he finishes Sean. I'm not going to rule it out either. Give me Du Plessis here for the win. And still.
Yeah.
Still knocks.
And still knocks. Yeah. I'm with you on the pick. I think Dricus is gonna make more adjustments, as you mentioned. I don't think he's dumb. He doesn't rub me as a dumb guy at all. Underrated trash talker, by the way.
And nothing against Sean Strickland either. I mean, just to jump in. I think Sean is a good fighter. The problem is I just don't trust Sean to make adjustments because Sean just likes to fight the way Sean likes to fight.
I think Sean's style is difficult to deal with in the first time you deal with it. I think once you have the tape and you see what you kind of did wrong and what you can do better.
And you spend a decent amount of time in there with him too.
I think it's going to be a little easier for you. Like if Stylebender and him fought again, who would you favor? You'd probably favor Stylebender.
Yeah.
I feel like Dricus with the experience, with the wrestling edge here, even though I don't think he's gonna be able to control Sean. I think Dricus is gonna win this by decision. I agree with you. I don't think Sean's gonna do a lot of anything different from the first fight. And the problem with Sean too, he has a hard time cutting off the ring too. If he's not cutting off the ring and consistently putting this man under fire and pressure, and Dricus can somewhat muster up some decent footwork. It doesn't even have to be exceptional, just decent footwork. You know, Paulo Costa doesn't have good footwork, and he was able to circle for 5 rounds. I think Dricus is perfectly capable of doing that. Just operating much better. He hits harder. He has the wrestling edge. I think he has the durability edge, low-key, because he has been in some wars and just come out on top. He's never got slept, despite what we may or may not say. I think don't get me wrong, I think if Alex Pereira hit him, he probably goes to sleep.
Well, if Alex Pereira hits anybody, you know.
Yeah, but if you're asking me, I just feel like Dricus is this is Dricus' fight to lose, man.
I agree.
And listen, I just think, I don't want to say it was pretty clear Sean won the first fight. I think it was judged incorrectly. I do. But I feel bad for Sean here because I thought he won the first fight. But once again, I just feel like Dricus is going to make the necessary adjustment, and he has the power, wrestling, chin, edge here.
He's just a more dynamic and better overall fighter.
And by the way, his ability to create problems for you so he can create openings for the takedown. Like he'll throw a flurry and just fall into a takedown like he did against Stylebender. It may look ugly, man, but he'll do anything to win. You know, he's kind of like, you know, a lot of these NFL quarterbacks, especially like Mahomes and Jaden Daniels and stuff like that. He pretty much just asks himself, what do I need to do to win? What do you need from me? And that's what he does. He doesn't give a shit how it looks. He doesn't care how it gets there, but he creates opportunities to get to his positions. And you're right. The more I think about it, maybe it doesn't go, there's a possibility it doesn't go to the decision. I feel like there's a rear naked show coming here somewhere. I don't know. I won't bank on it because I do think people sleep on how good Sean's grappling is.
I guess maybe for a bet, Du Plessis, maybe over 1.5, over 2.5.
Depending on how juiced it is.
I could see something like that. You know, yeah, obviously depending on the line. But yeah, I think that's probably something I feel comfortable with depending on the line.
Yeah, give me Dricus by decision. But I like that over 1.5 play. But this is Dricus' fight to lose for sure.
And that does it for UFC 312. The pay-per-view that doesn't feel like a pay-per-view. But we're going to be moving on to a pay-per-view in the sweet science. We got a fight taking place in Manchester, brought to you in part by Queensberry Promotions. The Last Dance. Derek Chisora going one-on-one with Otto Wallin. And it's going to be a 12-round fight. I don't know what else to say about it. My brother, take it away. Break it down.
Yeah, well, listen, for one, this pay-per-view is labeled The Last Dance. I think it's because it's Derek Chisora's retirement party in his hometown.
This is the first time he gets to fight in Manchester, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's like a bucket list fight for him. I guess, in an arena.
Correct. I'm going to be honest with you. Derek Chisora is fighting way past his prime.
I agree.
He has taken an insurmountable amount of damage. I really do worry about him later in his life. With that said, dog, good chin, always marches forward. Just stopped that bum Joe Joyce. Just knocked him out.
I was just going to mention Joyce.
Yeah, he's ass.
It's unfortunate because Joyce, man, just move your head, bro.
Yeah, he got starched by Zhang, bro. We made money on that second fight. And it's funny, we didn't play the first fight. We should have, because we talked about how live Zhang was in that fight. And he was like plus 1,100 and we didn't play it. So
Zhang came with the bang.
He was still, I think he was the dog in the second fight too, and he still got it done, which is crazy. Like I don't know how you could look at the first fight and say it was a fluke. It wasn't. But neither here nor there. Chisora got it done against him. All kudos to him. Otto Wallin is not Joe Joyce. Otto Wallin, yeah, he got beat up by Anthony Joshua, but it's Anthony Joshua on one of the biggest cards in boxing history. I feel like Otto Wallin had a good showing against Tyson Fury. He's had good showing since Tyson Fury. This is a guy that he should be able to control from distance. He is the much bigger man, height and length-wise. Pause. I feel like he should be able to control the distance. Not the biggest puncher. Derek Chisora, one of the more durable gentlemen in this division, in Manchester, in his backyard. I like the Otto Wallin decision here, man. It just reeks decision. I don't see anyone getting dropped. Believe it or not, the drop probability is on the Chisora side to drop Wallin here. I'd be very surprised if Wallin dropped him.
Crazy enough, huh?
Yeah, but if you're asking me, I just feel like unless he catches him with a big shot, I feel like this is Wallin's fight to lose. Give me Otto Wallin via decision.
And that does it, ladies and gentlemen. We broke down some sweet science. We broke down some mixed martial arts. But that pretty much does it for our combat coverage of the podcast. This is the outro portion of our podcast. My brother, take us home.
You already know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody, hey, man, you enjoying this visual portion of this podcast, man? Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and do us a favor, hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know. Episode 86 in the books. Holla at you guys. Love you guys. See you guys next week. Take it easy. Peace.